study with Julia. I'm not good with names. So our Trexis, Art, X, X, Artaxis, something like that. We're going to be going over the chapter of Nehemiah. And I want to say make sure you stay until the end because I discovered something super crazy and you guys can discover it for yourselves. I'm going to give you the numbers and you let me know what you come across. Let's start at the beginning of Nehemiah. I have read this chapter 15 times in the past week. The first analysis that I did, it was kind of like surface level, you know, like I talked about how he repented, didn't listen to Moses. He also repented for his people, picked faith over the preservation of self when it came down to fear tactics, which is honorable. His brother coming to, what the hell, where do you live again? In Persia. And he asked about the exile of Jerusalem. Although he wasn't there, he was close with God. And he knew that he was able to do things that just any individual couldn't do. That's the first thing that I picked up. Because the way that he spoke with the king and his positioning and the things that he was able to follow up with it, he was probably one of the only people who was able to do that and to correct the wrongs and to bring into awareness that things that other people would have liked to, but maybe they didn't have the proper position to do that. And plus his relationship with God, of course. I mean, he does reference God back to God a lot. And gracious hand of the king. And in my second analysis, I'm noticing that there's something grace, like the grace of God. What is that? And what does it mean to have the grace of God? I also analyzed how he took charge and he went to the nobles and he spoke for the people who were being taxed, who weren't able to live, who had their daughters in slavery. In the second analysis, I figure out exactly what slavery is. So, I mean, this is just kind of the basic part of it. Let's go right into the root of it. Bookland, out of the way. All right. Before going, and before him even going to the king, something that Nehemiah did was he repented. But he didn't repent for just himself. He repented for his awareness of the people around him as well. Because when you're going to God and you're being accountable, yes, you got to be accountable for your actions, but you also need to be accountable for what you're aware of. Like, that's what I mean in my other videos, which I will put a link right here, pop up. When you're being accountable for not only his actions, but for his awareness of the actions of those around him, whether they were aware or unaware. The thing is, he was aware. So when you're being accountable with God, you need to be accountable for it all. You need to be accountable for what you noticed, what you could have prevented. Things like, it's not that God is here to shun you. God is here to see that how aware are you? Because if you're not aware, then I need to keep putting the same things in front of you. It's not just to allow it to keep happening and you've learned how to work with it. Repenting, when he repented, I think that is like the perfect example to give someone. So if you're wondering what or how to repent, that is the chapter that I would refer to. And it's in the first chapter. That's what I would refer to if you're wondering how to repent, what to repent about, and how to show up authentically and honorably for yourself and for God. Okay, so chapter 2, verse 17. What is the grace of God? Because Nehemiah knew that if he didn't go back to Judah to rebuild the wall, it would be a disgrace to him. So the grace of God, what is that? How do we do that? And throughout this chapter, I want you to ask yourself this question. What is the grace of God? I can tell you what a disgrace is. From reading, I got to despise other people. To despise another person is a disgrace. To throw an insult at somebody is a disgrace. getting other people to intimidate, harass, or harm mentally, emotionally, or physically another person from ill intentions. If you don't, what defines an ill intention? Okay, honey, think about it. What do you stand for? What do you have your two legs planted on the ground? What do you represent as an individual, not as community? Here's another video for you to go watch right here if you need more clarification on that. What do you stand for? What will you go against the world for? What will you stand on your individual own two legs? It doesn't matter who's coming at you. What will you stand? And that's how you tell your intentions. Okay? I hope that broke it down for you. Let's get back to the disgrace here. Okay, so another one would be not trusting in God to protect you throughout the attacks. So whatever comes at you, if you have your full faith in God, he's going to pull you through. And doubting him to do so, yeah, you know what I'm saying. Okay, so selling the people you lend by charging them interest or anything, by charging them interest on anything loaned. This is slavery. It straight up says that. So if you go to Nehemiah Chapter 5, verse 14 to 16, which we'll read right here, okay? Chapter 5. Neither I nor my brother ate the food allotted to the governor. But the earlier governors, those preceding me, placed a heavy burden on the people and took 40 shekels of silver from them in addition to the food and wine. Their assistants also lorded it over the people. But out of reverence of God, but out of reverence for God, I did not act like this. Instead, I devoted myself to the work on the wall. All my men were assembled there for the work. We did not acquire any land. Furthermore, 150 Jews and officials ate at my table, as well as those who came to us from the surrounding nations. Each day, 1 ox, 6 choice sheep, and some poultry were prepared for me, and every 10 days, an abundant supply of wine and wine of all kinds. In spite of all this, I never demanded the food allotted to the governor, because the demands were heavy on these people. Remember me with favor, my God, and all I have done for these people. Okay, so what do I get out of that verse right there? It's a disgrace to demand people to pay taxes and interest to serve another kingdom government outside of the community or the land that is occupied. Nehemiah went and talked to the nobles in the beginning and made them give back the interest they were charging their own people. So a group, like whatever, if we're sending money like to other, like that's a disgrace. Like that's too much burden on people. That's what I got from that. So if you go to chapter 5, verse 14, moreover, from the 20th year of King Artaxerxes or whatever, when I was appointed to be governor of the land of Judah, until his 32nd year, 12 years. Okay, so I wrote down 20, 32, 12. And this is where things get weird, okay? 20, 32, 12. Look it up. Here's the numbers. Tell me what you find yourself. But here's a couple things that I found. You guys find? And yeah, ciao for now. Bye.